Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Education and Economic Development Committee statutory meeting for March 21st. I ask that everyone please stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance to the flag. I would ask Legislator O'Donnell to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
O'Donnell.
Here.
Ramos. Present. Skevich. Sassy.
Here.
Sierra. Bianca. Here. Sutherland. Here. Anita.
Here.
Present Jackson.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Legislator Cheney in the audience today. So what I would like to do first, if it's okay with all of you, is I would like to move item number 5 to item number 1, as it being a very short item, and we have Mr. Chiapparanti on the phone. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Okay, so Bill Chiapparanti, you are up for the IDA update and the county questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. First of all, I want to apologize for not being there in person. I pretty much the best excuse ever, well, except my daughter being born a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
I was down in New Jersey today visiting an attraction client, a tremendous food and beverage manufacturer that's considering Orange County. So went down there to talk to them about IDA benefits, do a tour and such. And it was very hospitable, but kept me a while. So I just want to pull off here and phone in. So thanks for allowing me to do that. As I always say, I'll go as quickly as I can. We'll see how that goes. First of all, very happy to update you on IDA application. We went a good year without receiving an application. That was a concern of the board of directors, a concern of mine. Fortunately, we've had a slew of them over the last couple of months. So it looks like we are back in business. I'm really excited to report that. A couple projects that we already approved, Walgreens. We approved sales tax exemption for a project in the town of Newburgh into a site being constructed by Matrix Development. It would create 200 jobs. It's a micro fulfillment center. So it's essentially a distribution center for pharmaceuticals, but you have actual pharmacists on staff, pharmacy techs, a number of other techs. So a really interesting slate of 200 jobs. We're really excited to help win that one for the town of Newburgh. That was approved. Also, Sativa, which is the second cannabis manufacturer out of the Warwick Tech Park, the former Mid-Orange Correctional Facility. Sativa, a Green Thumb, the IDA incentivized Green Thumb Industries back in April to build ultimately a 400,000 square foot manufacturing and processing center for cannabis. Sativa, you may recall, started construction before GTI a few years ago, but they were stalled because they had financial problems. They were purchased by an investment bank, Ianthus, continuing to reorganize and sort through some of the financial challenges. So they came to the IDA looking to help restarting the project, and we did. The board of directors approved at last Wednesday's meeting a property tax abatement and sales tax exemption for this project to get it restarted, which will itself create 100 jobs. Also, life science, R&D, the types of sectors, the types of jobs that we want to encourage more of. So those are 2 projects that were completed. We also have pending an application from a company known as Convergence Energy Systems. This is green power, renewable energy. It's not solar or wind, but it's actually a battery storage project. 3 of them, 3 separate projects by the same company, Convergence, the project known as West Warwick. And they are, the board authorized a public hearing for those 3 projects, but we have pushed that date out a little bit because we want to do more research on these types of projects, as does, and we want to work with the Orange County Department of Real Property to help them learn more about exactly how the costs are figured on these types of projects, how they're assessed. This is new for us. Of course, we don't do solar in the county, but really no battery projects like this that we've been involved in. So we're trying to learn more about that and again, work with Orange County Real Property to make sure we get it right. So that's pending. And then we also received The Orange County Funding Corporation, our local development corp, the other side of the house for the IDA, we received an application from Mount St. Mary College applying for tax-free revenue bonds. That's essentially what the OCFC does, is issue tax-free revenue bonds. Usually it's a nonprofit, St. Luke's, other institutions like that. Looking St. Luke's, for example, will use tax-free revenue bonds to fund the expansion of their emergency center, emergency room. So those types of projects are often done. Mount St. Mary is essentially looking to refinance tax-free revenue bonds that were issued by the OCFC back in 2012 and 2017. And I have a little departure here. This is requested, I believe, is on your agenda as well. So I'll give you a little more backup of this. So again, they're looking to essentially refinance $50 million of tax-free bonds in order to take advantage of competitive interest rates. Similarly, like, we're all doing to refinance our homes when mortgage rates are low. This is ultimately will allow them to pay down the debt more quickly. Well, the OCFC Board of Directors, the same as the OCIDA, accepted the Mount application at last Wednesday's meeting, and they voted to authorize a public hearing on this request. We tentatively set that for April 4th. But when a not-for-profit is involved in a transaction like this, the person identified as the, quote, applicable elected official must sign a form approving the transaction. In Orange County, that elected official is the county executive. But given that the county executive is deployed as of last Thursday, he's clearly not available to sign the form. And unfortunately, under the applicable law, the deputy county executive is not authorized to sign the form as he's not elected. So according to our bond counsel, or the IDA and OCFC bond counsel, our attorney that really just works on those deals from Harris Beach, the workaround here is to ask the legislature to pass a resolution authorizing the legislative chair to sign the form. So that's what we're requesting. We don't mean to or like to submit a rush request, but the college is asking the OCFC to move as quickly as possible in this matter, which is why I'm briefing on this today. So I believe the concept was introduced to your council by the county attorney, and there was some conversation with our bond counsel in the loop. And again, I'm here to provide those facts. If you have any other questions, I can answer them. But that is the matter that we're looking for your cooperation on Mount St. Mary College. Mr. Chairman, do you want me to pause on that? You want me to keep going? We can
Yes.
Go back to that.
Let's pause on that.
Keep going. Okay.
No, let's pause on that.
Got it.
Got it? Okay, any questions?
Yes, sir.
Legislator O'Donnell.
So how much in fees does the Orange County Funding Corporation get from these refinances?
So we get a non-refundable application fee of $5,000, which we split with half. This has always been the deal with our bond counsel. So they get half of that. And then it has to be determined yet, but it could be a small percentage of the bond. So for the final transaction fee, we haven't finalized that, but we can try and finalize those numbers, and I'll get it back to the committee immediately. As soon as we have that figure, I can tell you the exact fee that will be levied if this goes through.
So does bond counsel get the share in that also?
They do for the transaction.
All right,
So
so
Harris Beach will have a share of that.
how close are you to a new bond counsel?
We actually had to push back our RFP review for that because we've had so many. We had local labor monitoring service we did this past month. So we are scheduled to review bond counsel RFP at our April board meeting. I believe it's April 20th.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're just gonna review the RFP that's going out for a new bond counsel at your April
So
meeting?
the RFP already went out. I'm sorry, Legislator O'Donnell. I meant that we're reviewing the responses we got to that RFP. We I think 5 different law firms bid, so to speak, to be our bond counsel, including Harris Beach reapplying. And we've had those for probably 3 months or so. We've just had so much other business that we've had to prioritize other things. While this new team really tries to get settled with the council we have. So we are looking at April 20th for me to share a kind of a comparative analysis the best I can with this RFP. It's a little different than bond council, but I try and do an analysis I share with the board to help with their decision making. But we should be addressing that in April.
All right, so April 20th, you're gonna review all 5 applications that come in? And you can't speak for the board, but is there a possibility you're gonna have a vote
on April 20th for a new bond counsel based on those interviews. I'm assuming all the board members got copies of the proposals already.
Absolutely. That is the plan. I can't guarantee that that will happen. Sometimes there is further discussion, sometimes there's further research is wanted, other questions they want answered, and they want to come back for the next meeting. But the plan would be to present, make sure everyone has recent copies of everything, and they get my comparative analysis, and then prepare to vote on the matter on the 20th. That is the plan.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion, go into executive session. Discuss a legal issue.
We need a initial motion. Also.
There's motion on the floor.
Second.
So moved, executive session. Anyone who's not part of this meeting, I would ask to please wait out in the chambers. Call you in when ready.
Yeah.
And I am going to need Mr. Joy here.
Oh, no, no.
Oh, you got it?
got it.
Sure.
No.
Thank you.
All right, we are live, so we are back in regular session coming out of executive. Topic is still out there for Mr. Fioravanti with, let me just get my documents in order here, please. So for item 5B, are there any more questions or comments? If not, I'd like to have a vote.
Was there a motion?
Motion and second to open it up. May I have a motion, let's just do it. May I have a motion for item number 5B?
So.
Second. Okay, roll call.
Who's the second? I'm sorry.
Spinning.
Okay. Liddell,
Yes.
Ramos,
I have to recuse myself.
Sassy,
Yes.
Spiegel,
Yes.
Sutherland,
Yes.
and Menuda.
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 abstention. 2 absent.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, I'm not sure who's going in for, there we go. Request for reconfirmation, request for confirmation of reappointment to the Orange County Electrical Licensing Board. Or Cheney legislative request number 45.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, County Executive.
May I have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Thank
So
you.
moved.
You got it.
That's the
Second.
character we gotta do. We gotta really do this by the book.
Thank you. Got ahead of us.
Yeah, we don't want to have to repeal him.
Okay,
I've been around too long. Thanks, bro.
you have the floor,
I
sir.
do. This is a request by the county executive to approve the reappointment of Barry Cheney to the Electrical Licensing Board. The enabling legislation requires that we have 9 board members, one of which to be appointed or designated by the chairperson of the legislature. Mr. Cheney is on the board now. He's being reappointed by the chairwoman of the legislature, Katie Manelli.
Any questions or comments? If not, may I have a motion to vote?
So moved.
The easiest one you're gonna have
Roll
to.
call.
Thank you.
Liddell,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Sassy,
Yes.
Spiegel.
Yep.
Sutherland,
Yes.
Menuda.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next, item number 2, Rachel Wilson, Director of the Youth Bureau.
Hello. As you can see, I'm not Rachel. She sends her apologies. She's out recovering from surgery.
Okay.
So my name is Susan Ambrosino. I'm her fiscal person with the Youth Bureau. So I'm
Thank
gonna
you. Thank you.
stand in her place today.
One moment, please. I just need to get a motion on the request. So this is item A, request to accept and appropriate funds from the New York State Office of Children and Family Services Gun Violence Prevention Program to be allocated to provide youth engagement activities ages 14 through 24 with extended hours and weekends in areas of high gun violence throughout the city of Middletown. Funding period is from 1/1/22 to 3/31/22 as pre-designated by the New York State OCFS, $90,000, legislative request number 31.
So.
Thank you, second. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This may look familiar to you. It was presented to you the end of 2021. The funding came through New York State Office of Children and Family Services. It came through end of November, beginning of December. We presented it, hoping that the agencies that were pre-designated, and I gave you all this just to remind you of which agencies the state had picked and allocated the funds to. We're just asking because they weren't able to do that, and the funding period extends until the end of this month, March 31st. We would just like to have the opportunity to bring that back in so they can utilize it as it was intended for the gun violence in these two specific areas. Item B kind of refers to the same thing. One was City of Newburgh and one was City of Middletown.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Legislators
Can
tonight.
you just explain, like, I know it says for extended hours and weekends, but are they staying open? Are they doing like, just different activities to keep them off the street and kind
Some
of
of
away
them-
from?
Some of them with COVID, and the areas that they're in have offered, some of them virtual, some of them are in person. I mean, it's been a combination of both through all these agencies, to try to reach as many of this at-risk youth as they can. But they are just trying to do nights, weekends, and then again, they're extending services in any way that these kids can participate. So to answer your question, they're trying to accommodate the youth that are in need.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, kind of a vote on this, part A.
O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Sassy,
Yes.
Stiganga,
Yes.
Sutherland,
Yes.
Menuda.
Yes, thank you very much. Motion passes. B, similar request. This is a request to accept appropriate funding from the New York State Office of Children and Family Services Gun Violence Prevention Program to be allocated to provide youth engagement activities 14 through 24 for the extended hours and weekends in areas of high gun violence throughout the city of Newburgh. Funding period from 1/1/22 to 3/31/22 as pre-designated by NYSOCFS for $60,000. Legislative request number 32. I assume this is the same.
Second.
Thank you. You have the floor. Anything to add on this one?
Thank you very
Yeah.
much for your time.
Any more questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Sassy.
Yes.
Stiganga,
Yes.
Sutherland,
Yes.
Menuda.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Huh?
Next on the agenda, we have Nicole Anderson, Director of Community Development, for two legislative requests. Nicole and I have had lots of conversation over the past month. So what I would like to do first and foremost, welcome, and may I have a motion and a second for item number A.
Second.
Thank you. This is a request for supplemental appropriation of the Orange County Office of Community Development to adjust the 2022 budget, recording available HUD funds and HUD's Integrated Disbursement Information System from the county's 2015 to 2019 CDBG and home grants. Amount of $1,034,339. Legislative request number 26. You have the floor. Let's keep it simple.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also wanted to introduce Brenda Luciano, who is our fiscal manager. So I've written it down actually to keep it as simple as I can. So community development has worked with the county auditor, budget, finance, county executive's office, as well as Chairman Menuda on this. So if you would like to interject, please do. So although these federally funded programs can be complicated and intricate, this resolution is really just simple accounting math. Since 1989, the county has been awarded $101 million in federal grant awards from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and have submitted expenses to HUD for reimbursement. But of the $101 million we submitted, they've deemed 1 million of it ineligible and only paid for 100 million. So we still have 1 million in our account available to spend on eligible activities. HUD has offered for us to expend the 1 million on eligible county expenses within the next month. So I reached out to county departments, found eligible expenses, and if this resolution passes, we'll draw down for them to reimburse the county the $1 million. Through interdepartmental charges, the HUD funds will be transferred as revenue to the general fund, similar to how we normally pay for expenses incurred by the municipalities that are regularly funded by CDBG.
Thank you. That was concise.
Any questions?
Legislator O'Donnell.
So is there a list of departments that are gonna get this?
Yeah, so there was a emergency services paid for a vaccination pod booster flyer that was sent to all households in the county for $60,000. COVID test kits for 487,500. DSS purchased food from the Hudson Valley Food Bank during COVID for 257,000. And then we have 229,000, which will be going into other COVID-related public services or possibly some infrastructure projects that are currently in progress.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no hands, no questions, like to have a vote, please, roll call.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Ramos?
Yes.
Hennessy?
Yes.
DeGanja?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Benedict?
Yes,
6 ayes.
thank you. Item B, request for supplemental appropriation to the 2022 Orange County budget to reflect funds received from program income for neighborhood stabilization grant, the amount of $90,254.30. Legislative request number 27. May I have a motion? And a second?
moved.
Second.
Okay, so this is just the regular program income that we receive from our programs. This in particular is for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, which was a grant that we had starting back in 2008. So there was a sale of a house, and when a house sells, the county then receives the funds and they need to be spent back into that program. So this is basically recording the program income so we can then spend it on eligible NSP activities.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Seeing, hearing none, roll call, please.
O'Donnell?
Yes.
Ramos?
Yes.
Sassy?
Yes.
DeGanja?
Yes.
Sutherland?
Yes.
Benedict?
Yes,
6 ayes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Next up, we have Amanda Dana, Tourism Director, for a quarterly update. Motion and second.
Extra reports, if anyone would like one.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I figured I'd start out the meeting with a trivia question. If you don't mind.
Hope it's true calls.
And I'd like to also introduce myself to Legislator Ramos. Very well, thank you. Okay, so the trivia question goes as follows. These two icons in Orange County tourism are both the first of their kind in American history. Which one is older, Brotherhood Winery or the Goshen Historic Tract?
Winery.
Well, it's a Goshen Historic Tract.
Really?
It is, and only by 2 years. So that was kind of a trick question, but that is one of, so just want to start the meeting off with that. Maybe I can continue that trend. It would be quite lovely to do that. Thank you for having me.
Back to the trivia question.
No.
All right, there's
You have enough questions.
oxygen true prize. When you get to that, the trivia question will be, who was the major in Troop F in charge of that investigation?
Let's hold that for the film department, but we're
I
gonna.
wonder who that might be.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Welcome.
Now back to regularly scheduled business.
Congratulations, Chairman, on your new appointment.
Thank you.
So looking back at 2021, we're incredibly proud, the tourism office. It was the highest collection of occupancy tax in history of Orange County, over $5 million. And that was a wonderful thing to happen for us. And it also lends us to believe that there's a tremendous amount of people that want to be here, which is a great thing. Additionally, sales tax collection of $352 million was a 25% increase over 2020 and a 17% increase from 2019. We always like to look at 2019 because a lot of times people say 2020, don't compare it to that because it was such a different year. But it was definitely 17% over 2019. We're very proud of that. You should also know that we will receive an economic study from Oxford Economics, and that'll be coming out probably this summer. The state runs that, so sometimes it tends to get a little longer than that, but it's usually summer, fall, and that'll show the visitor spending in Orange County. I will share that with you when I do get that. Some updates in the tourism office on behalf of staff. We have a new vacancy. Our tourism coordinator position is open. Just so you know, we have 5 funded positions, 4 in tourism and 1 in film. Okay, so the next three bullets in the report, I'm going to make it simple for you to be mindful of your time, is that's just the trending going on in tourism and how we're formulating our strategy moving forward. So to make things simple, we can start by saying 8 out of 10 Americans now are planning vacations. We hope that Orange County will be on their list to vacation, but that's a great trend in our history because of COVID and coming out of COVID. But that's a great number to look at. And the Canadian traveler is going to be a market we're going to be focusing on. The Canadian traveler has had a longer lapse of traveling than a lot of places in this world because of the border control and whatnot. So we're going to experience a lot more Canadians coming down into the Hudson Valley, into Orange County, and that's a trend to follow. So basically, when we talk about paths to follow and people are moving again, we're talking about how our marketing campaign has changed just a little bit. People want to see familiar stories when they're looking for places to go. We are now coming down to events and communities that are bringing outside people here. And in doing that, we're putting more money into the local economies. So that's a big focus for us this year and years to come, is because this is also going to be a trend, not only in our county, but in the state and in the United States. Okay, so feel-good stories are something we hope to capitalize on. I mentioned that people are now on social media quite a bit, and if they see some feel-good stories there, they're more likely to come and visit. I'm not going to go through all the bullets in our strategy, but I just want to highlight some of those things. We're also going to be keeping aware of the public relations trends from Expedia and Travelocity and the like. So just want to keep you up on that. Okay, so tourism updates in Orange County. Legoland will reopen April 8th. That is the park. The hotel has been open. It has not closed. And that's a great thing for us. And they have expansions going on. Lego City has an expanded water playground. That's a visual in your packet. And apparently they have spent close to $20 million on enhancements at the park since they've opened. They're also going to be focusing on new shows and entertainment and hopefully get people in to see those as well.
And a real quick question. There are no signs for Lego. Was that a town thing, Jim? There's no
It's-
state where it's Legoland.
Well, they've applied for their signs. They have told us that they have been delayed in doing so, but they are hoping to get them up very shortly.
Okay.
I had a meeting with them and I asked the same question. It comes in a lot. That call comes in a lot. Where are the signs?
Right. So where do you find it?
You can't.
Okay. I wondered why. I thought maybe the town or something had an ordinance or the state.
No.
There's no signs for Lego in California off the highway. So that's by design. They don't put Legoland as safety. So you could drive, can't drive right by the main entrance, but you could be a block away in California.
No.
I find that odd because you go to Six Flags and they're all over the place.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Right.
Well, I do know they're working on those right
That's their
now.
marketing.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anyone have any more questions about Legoland?
Are they gonna be open full this from now? Because I know last year everything was by appointments and you had to call and reserve.
Okay, so good question. They are still looking to do their reservation system to book your tickets and hold your spot. So as of right now, it's still working that. They're not taking any walk-ups just right now. Okay. That might change. Just gonna put that out.
I know there were a lot of people that just couldn't get in because you only have certain days that you are able to go. So, they just weren't able to use their tickets.
Let's hope we get them in this year. Okay, sports tourism update. Sports tourism is a big sector for our county. It brings in thousands and thousands of visitors a year. Just a few of them we pointed out on the report. Blue Sky Sports, that is in the town of Waukegan. They have 13 weekends booked right now, and probably since the time I did this report, they probably booked another couple. One of their events last summer brought in 400 overnights, which is a large overnight for this area. And we'll get to the hotels a little bit later, but the weekend traffic in our county, the weekend sports tournaments are really filling our hotels. And we need more, but we'll talk more about that. So Blue Sky is one of the places we look at. Faller Field is always a contributor to the New York State Championship schedules. 12th Rock, We talk a little bit, Takedown Adventures is a new type of activity that goes around, and they do the activities such as hatchet throwing and bow and arrow, and they will come to your place or they'll have people come to them. And it's becoming very popular now in Orange County. More information on that if you need it. The Hudson Sports Complex in Warwick is booking up their tournaments as well. And they're in that campus, the old prison campus, I call it. And of course, West Point Athletics brings in thousands and thousands of people per year, if not millions, for their sports activities. Does anyone have any questions on the sports tourism? So an economic development update. So as we know, Steve Gross will be taking over as Director of Economic Development. We're looking forward to working with him and onboarding with him. Some things that we do out of a tourism office, the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council, the tourism office, I am the co-chair of the play group, which we have sat down with the Mid-Hudson Regional Council, and we have come up with a new plan for the Mid-Hudson region, and we've come up with 4 goals. They're very simple, but it really hits the point. Getting to the Mid-Hudson region, improving our quality of life, advocating for farms and craft sector, and promotion of industry, which has everything to do with promoting and getting people outside into the Mid-Hudson region. We're also working closely with Hudson Valley Economic Development Council. I'm the co-chair. I'm a co-chair of hospitality there, and we're working on moving groups around their board around to different areas in the county and Hudson Valley to create awareness for what's going on in tourism. So status of some new projects, as we just talked about, Legoland is expanding and adding some new rides and good stuff. Expansion at Angry Orchard as well. They're expanding their event space, and they're going to incorporate lodging. Limoncello's or the Orange Inn, that is hopefully going to be completed by this summer. They'll be adding about 39 rooms to the village of Goshen. The dinosaur park that was once in the town of Walk Hill is no longer in the town of Walk Hill, and they are moving further south in our county, which is great because we're keeping them in our county because they could have went anywhere. They have a state grant that allows them to go anywhere in the state and capitalize on that grant. They're staying in Orange County, and more to come on that. As soon as they hit planning board, I'll be able to talk freely about that. So it is hopefully, fingers crossed, staying in Orange County. I believe it will be. Storm King Art Center has an expansion date too, got a CFA award, which is an award from the state. Finding Homes Farm is adding a cafe to their farm, and I can't wait to go there. We have 80 Charles Street reopened. That is an iconic restaurant in Montgomery that is reopened. These are all great signs of things going on great in tourism. And Foster Hospitality, the Grand Street properties, we're very excited about that project in the city of Newburgh. They will be moving forward. They do have their incentive package now lined up, so I believe that's going to be moving forward nicely. We're very happy about that. So hotels and planning are under construction. There are 21 projects currently right now in lodging. 4 hotels are actually under construction, which is when shovels are in the ground, I call it. So that's only 160 rooms, and I say only 160 because we do need more. There's 15 hotel boutiques in planning, which makes up about 1,300 rooms. And hopefully those hotels that are in planning will be going along quicker than I had hoped. Some of them are dealing with some water and sewer issues, but hopefully things are back on track. They went kind of silent during COVID, but now they're back. Just so you know, for a frame of reference, Orange County has about 3,500 rooms. Legoland, Florida, I picked that out there because they're very similar to us in their demographics when you compare us to New York City and Polk County to Orlando. They have 8,000 rooms and we have 3,500. So we have a ways to go, and hopefully we'll be getting more rooms. We need them. Some expansions at New York Stewart International. Things are going well there. We have Clay Airline, which was announced, an international airline. It's Icelandic airline from Reykjavik. It's a hard word to say, Reykjavik. They will be starting on June 9th. So there'll be an event at the airport for June 9th. These are an inaugural event. And we've had great success with Frontier Airlines and Allegiant. In fact, Frontier has expanded their routes because of the success they've been having to Atlanta and Raleigh-Durham. So that's all great stuff. And I have a schedule of all that. If anyone wants that, I'll be happy to share that with you. Some marketing updates. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. We are doing very well from our visits to our website to our digital marketing campaigns. Just so you know a little bit, 500,000 visitors came to our website last year, and we had over 1 million page views. So that's really good statistics. That means people are really looking at Orange County. And we're doing some real good marketing initiatives, working with Google AdWords and our digital display advertising. One of the things we look at is our click-through rate that's on from some of our advertising and all of our advertising in the digital world, actually. And the average, the standard is 1%. That means that 1% of people click through your ad if you were to put a digital ad in front of them. We have one of the highest ever at 12% in November. We had a 12% click-through rate. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is a lot. And so that means that people are really liking our advertising and they're clicking through our ads. That's a great thing. Our lodging plugin is doing very well. It is the place where you go on our website where if you're looking for a hotel, you go onto our lodging widget and you go and look for the hotel in the various municipality you want to be in. And that is also on the growth mode. From 2020 to 2021, we increased 42%, and our conversions increased by 67%, which is fantastic. One other thing I want to point out is that we have a new cost-effective way to distribute our guides, and that's with Getaways on Display. That'll be reaching parts of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And those are drive markets that are very important here because it brings people here and they have to stay overnight. And that's what we like. So in social media, should I stop for any questions? No? Okay, keep going. All right, all right. So social media, in April of 2020, we decided to put a conscious effort to make sure we grow our social media. As you can see from this chart in the report, from April 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2021, we've increased our Instagram by 149%. We've increased our Facebook followers by 99% and our Twitter by 34%. So a strategy that has proven to be successful. In our public relations, when you read this on your computer or on your laptop, you'll be able to click on each one of these links that shows you some of the public relations activities we've been doing. And my suggestion is that if when you go on and you click on these things and it has anything to do with the area that you serve, that you share it and you talk a little bit about it. And so it's a lot of good press that's out there. Hudson Valley Tourism, which is our regional tourism office, is focusing on tour operator initiatives, which means that we're focusing on group tours coming back to the region and to Orange County. We're working with them. New York State Tourism Association, we're working on them. We have a conference in April. And we're focusing on new marketing trends, regional destination marketing, and European travelers, and what that looks like, considering what's going on globally. So events are back, which is great. Some of the ones on this list you haven't seen in a couple of years, but they're back. The Great American Weekend in Goshen is back. Freedom Fest, Newburgh Illuminated, which is always a great event I like to go to. The Great Race, which is different in Montgomery. The Great Race is an antique car race. It's very famous. Montgomery applied for it and they got that. There is a picture of that in your packet. That'll be on June 19th, and that's a great event. The concerts at Orange County Fairgrounds, actually Leonard Skinner and the Marshall Tucker Band are going to be there that summer. So mark that in your calendars. The return of Apple Fest, which is wonderful in Warwick, because that is a very big driver of people coming into our county. That'll be back this year. Pine Bush UFO Festival. The New York Air Show has been moved to the end of August. We'll be back at the Renaissance Fair, Brick or Treat with Legoland, and there are much more. Please keep following us on the tourism website to see those events. Just a few more things until I get to film, and I am being mindful of your time. Band Wango is something we are going to be utilizing this platform to push out our craft beverage partners. So that's a fun word to say, Band Wango. It is a platform. They do they focus on trails. And when people go to each location, they will sign in, get prizes, and it really encourages them to see all of our 29 craft beverage locations in the county. Legoland Hotel collaborations, we are doing some marketing with them on social media, but secondly, and something that I'm very happy about, they have said that we can put our travel guides in all of their hotel rooms, so which is a good thing. So now we'll be replenishing our travel guides in the hotel rooms. They have a 250 room hotel, and as we know, they were very busy last season and they will be this season as well. Just a few more projects that are there. I talked about the Great Race. Restaurant Week is going on now. And we are participating with Freedom Fest and also assisting with the Great Race through Leadership Orange, which is a scavenger hunt. It should be pretty fun to do. There are some pictures of some of the things we've been doing. We also redid our map, which is on our website. It's a fun destination map, just so you know. There's a picture in here of the press conference for the expansion of routes from Frontier Airline and whoever. It's a very nice way to go to some of our southern parts of our country, and I recommend you take Frontier.
They merged with Spirit.
Yes, they did. Anybody have any questions on tourism?
I have a couple.
Where do we get that list, total list of flights out of Stewart?
I've made one, and it's at my office. I can email it to
Oh,
you.
that'd be great. Thank
Yep.
you.
Amanda, first of all, this is fabulous. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that the numbers here for Orange County are phenomenal. One point that I want to bring up here in terms of tourism, and we have so many things coming up here. I do have a letter from my supervisor, Carnes, here. I'm just going to paraphrase from it. Maybe you can kind of explain it. In 2020 and 2021, we're told the county grant program for tourism and museums have been put on hold due to COVID. Okay, I understand that. And to reapply in 2022. Where do we stand on that? Can you fill us in on that? And maybe we can do something to get that kicked back up again?
Sure. So historically, the tourism office had a line that would contribute towards municipal grants under $5,000 specifically for tourism related events. And that was a successful program. However, we did take that away during the COVID times. That line has been taken back into the county executive's office. So I no longer have the funds to even weigh in on that. It is solely handled by the county executive's office.
Okay, so
So-
even with all these phenomenal numbers, I mean, the money should be there, and that's every community, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So we should act to restore that. So, okay, all right, thank you.
Any other question?
Can I just make a
Yes.
comment? So it hasn't taken out of the county executive's budget. When we did the budget last year, we were still in COVID times. So we were unclear as to if the funds would be available. Can it be up for negotiation yet? That's up to the county executive, just so you're aware, it is out of the budget.
It's out of the
It
budget.
was, yes.
Okay, how do we get it back in? Talk to Harry.
Come together.
With Dan. Okay.
Yeah, you would have to go.
Okay, no, I'd like to
Yeah.
enjoy
And
it here, I'd
again,
like
it
to see
was
us.
based on,
Sure.
COVID, and we didn't think we were gonna be
Good.
rebounding as quickly as we did.
Cut it back, Bill's got an event coming up, I'm sure.
Also, just briefly, I'm remiss, I did not get a chance to recognize our other legislators who were here. Legislator Paduk, Chairwoman Benelli, and Mr. Fagione are in the room. Please continue, unless we're done.
Okay, and I would like to take time, two of my members of my team are here. Nora Martinez is here, Phil, and Deanna Barker is here from the tourism office. I'm sorry, I did not
Welcome.
recognize him sooner. So film updates, we are incredibly busy with film. You might have remembered, last year was the year of White House Plumbers. HBO was here twice. This year it's turned into something else, which we'll talk about. But here is a list in front of you of the films from 2021 that we're filming that will be coming out probably in the next year or so. But these are all great films contributing tons of revenue to local municipalities. Next up, we have Poker Face, which is a Peacock Universal series. So White House Plumbers transitions out, Peacock comes in, and the series is called Poker Face. It's a 10-episode series. They are already here, and they'll be filming here for the next 9 or 10 months. That is great. They're using our sound stages, which is something that maybe we'll get into asking that question, because when they use our sound stages and they're here in Orange County, most likely they are spending their money locally. So that's a good thing. They're using our sound stages. It's about $100 million budget for that, and they will be here for 10 months, which is a great thing. We have many local vendors who are already signed up to work with this production. Daughter of the Bride, another feature film in April, and Pretty Little Liars. Any of you heard of Pretty Little Liars? Maybe? Yeah, I think I see some heads nodding. Okay, so that was being filmed in Dutchess County. Ulster County. It still is in Ulster County, but they will be coming back to us in December of this year using our sound stages. So in the pipeline, we have the summer Hondo Story Avenue with a Jamie Foxx production, Endeavor Film, and Mar Vista Entertainment, which is 78 films for the next few years. They will be here. They've committed to the sound stages in Newburgh. Here's some pictures of things we've been doing. A Holiday Spectacular by Hallmark was here. The largest production budget ever in a Hallmark film was here in Orange County. So they use the Rockettes from Radio City, but they also use Newburgh, Warwick, and other places in the county. But that'll be out next Christmas time. I know you're all excited about that. Can't wait for that Hallmark film to come out. So a New Windsor update, the corridor for filming, which last year, just to bring you up, last year we were very successful in having the zoning changed and the 9W corridor to allow for production, which is a great thing. Now they're trying to get some renovations done to the buildings that they own. They own the Umbra sound stages that they own on that corridor, working through, trying to get permits. And we're working through it. Sometimes we have some language barriers, a little bit with like insurance needs and what a permit is and what a location is, but we're getting there. And I think we're going to be on a great track very shortly. Port Jervis and Cornwall host TV shows as well. So Restaurant Impossible, has anyone heard about that? So the Chianti Cow was aired on June 30th for that, and there was a follow-up for that. And the Hometown Kickstart was in Cornwall, and that's going to be airing April 24th. So those are two great things that were there, staying in our hotels and spending money in our local economy. One thing we like to talk about is when folks come back to Orange County who have gone away and had an education and feel like they either have to be in New York City or the West Coast with their production degree. This one young lady came back to our office and said, I have a degree in film production. I'd like to see if there's any opportunity here. We immediately hooked them up with our Friends Choice Films down in Newburgh, and they were the next day working on the Hallmark movie. So that's a great story to have, because it says that people can come back and have jobs. How about Inventing Anna? Has anyone heard of that? Netflix? Okay, so yeah, Guilty. I have watched that as well because biasly, we have a scene from Storm King Art Center in it. So, but also Anna, the real Anna, was, maybe still is, in the Orange County Jail, and she is in the ICE unit there, and that is just something. We'll take anything to get us some notoriety here, but she's there. So we did have a meeting with Senator Skoufis. Senator Skoufis was coming out with questions relative to the film tax credit, which is really needed for these companies to be here, these production companies to be here. We actually had a very nice conversation with Senator Skoufis, and hopefully he will be supportive of our film tax credit. Sugarloaf is planning for a film festival in September. More to come on that. And the part where we're going to talk about is Oxygen True Crime. So in the early 1990s, we had a person named Nathaniel White, and he unfortunately had killed 6 people in Orange County. And they did a Oxygen True Crime story about him. And apparently they interviewed many police authorities on this. I don't know if anyone is.
Me.
I don't know if anyone was in the room that had anything to do with
Not
that.
John Melville either. So
Okay.
you want the real story on it.
You're not Kendall? Kendall's the good.
Wow. So, young girl in the village of Goshen goes missing. John Eggerson was the chief of police at the time. So she's missing, I don't know, about a week to 10 days. So I was the major up here, so I told Melville lived in the village, same as me at the time. So I told John, I said, young girls, she was like 13. I said, they don't get missing in the village of Goshen. down and talk to Chief Ackerson, see what you can do to help him out. And within a week, a guy out walking came across one of the women that was killed. It was from the Poughkeepsie area, and that connection connected back to Nathaniel, who picked him up, and through good police work, he took us to a couple of the other sites, unfortunately.
One was a house by Legoland, wasn't it?
Yes.
I was the senior assessor commissioner at that time.
But
We had kids wrapped up in that, and there was an issue with probation as well. We're supposed to notify them when you release this guy, and they never did.
yeah,
It was a mess. I think we talked to you on the phone. You were with state police.
right. But I don't think they interviewed Mr. Melville, two critical components of this case. And they couldn't interview poor Chief Ackerson because he's up ahead.
Well, unfortunately, that was a terrible story, but it was aired on January 20th of this year.
Not a nice guy.
So there's one last thing I'll say before I go. You have a spreadsheet of filming that we've been working on, either it's landed or it's pending or we've lost it. We track that very actively. And the thing I'd like you to look at is at the very end of the spreadsheet. I feel it's very important to know that how much of production are the films that use our local sound stages and that we've actually got. And the amount of money of those productions, $295 million in films that are using our sound stages. That is a great number. So with that, does anyone have any questions on?
Amanda, real quick, I've been using Stewart, I've been out, in and out a lot. And it is increased in volume, but I don't see any signs there. I don't know if we have the capability to do that or permission to do that. So, as people are waiting in line, I do see ads. But I don't remember seeing any for Orange County, like Washington's headquarters, West Point,
Right.
Legoland, Brotherhood Winery. Do we have permission or have to pay for that, or is that
Yeah.
something we can?
If it was free, I would be up there all day
Yeah.
long. So, it's unfortunately, there's a contract we need to be in with a company that maintains all the advertising opportunities. Now, that being said, the airport has let us put up small little things here and there, a rack for our guides and whatnot. But we are working on getting something in there actually right now. So
Okay, great.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
they
because
do want us to
I
charge.
always talk to people there. They're coming from Connecticut to fly out of Stewart. They're coming from Pennsylvania to fly out of Stewart. They're coming from Cutterbackville to fly out of Stewart. Coming from all over the place.
Yeah, if they are coming from all over. And Play Airline already has advertised in Iceland that go through customs in 30 minutes. That's actually how they advertise, so.
Yeah.
The signs, I know that we'd have to pay for in the airport, but what about outside the airport?
Outside on the building?
Well, like on, you have the two
Entrance.
ways and the entrances, so a lot of that's New Windsor.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So
Yeah,
is there a way that, because they have to go out one way or the other, so either to 747 or to 207,
It's all state
So-
highway regulated.
but not on the inside. On the inside, it's New Windsor.
Windsor,
Where?
Coming from where the airport is, coming out on those two roads.
Yeah.
A lot of that property belongs to New
Only,
Windsor.
right. Only in that.
So, if we're looking for something to do that we can work within one of our municipalities, that would help. Maybe looking at some of the property that they have, we could put up something that would show those things.
I'll definitely look into it for you. Does anyone
Any
want more
other
trivia, or are we gonna conclude
I'll
this?
take a couple more packets.
Okay, I'm just kidding about it.
The update on the airport, I know they put like 35 million or something into it. Are we going to be looking at expanding anything? I know right now with everything going on with Europe, but I think a lot of that was to help with the international side of it. So I know we just got Play in, but are we going to possibly get some of the other ones back? Are we working on that?
Yes, absolutely working on that. I'm on a Stewart expansion committee I can tell you they're working on more international flights. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Hearing nothing else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening.
So, how does it just?
I'm gonna say one.
All the time. Thank you, Jeff.